You know, speaking as somebody who has seen the movie 12 times at this point, I think the movie's okay. It's maybe a bit too long in parts, but there's something incredible about sitting in a theater and realizing you're watching a brand new Indiana Jones movie. And come on, World War II Indiana Jones? That's amazing. Oh, and 40X? What a thrill. Like, it felt like you're right in the tuk-tuks there going in through Tangiers. Absolutely amazing.
My favorite scene would have to be the ending when Marion finally reunites with Indy. She walks in, her theme starts playing. Just like everything about that was so magical. I'm so happy that they included her. Karen, I only love you.
Riddle me this. What is the difference between Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny? Wrong. It's everything. They're two different movies. Gotcha. I really enjoyed Dial of Destiny. There were some shaky things like the de-aging and stuff, and the ending just happened, but I love the time travel. Ooh.
It took me 2 viewings, but I got there, and the second time it really blew me away, and that's the best acting Harrison Ford's ever done, I think, especially that scene on the boat where he's saying what he would do in the past. He made me cry. Not ashamed to admit that. What a movie.
I absolutely love Dial of Destiny. Beautiful conclusion to the character, to the saga, to the franchise. And I've seen it 3 times now, and I've cried every single time I've seen it. It's a wonderful movie. It's a gift to us fans.
As a childhood Indy fan, this was epically emotional, better than I ever could have hoped for. In fact,
Or visits to the theater.
got a collection of retro Indy figures and Funko Pops. I have young Indy and old Indy. Retro Indy. Ow! This. I even made a spoof trailer about it, because I've been looking for his film all my life. Give him hell, Indiana Jones. Ow!
We had an amazing time seeing the movie. We saw it as a family in IMAX, and we couldn't be happier to see The Man in the Hat.
5 stars.
I really enjoyed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Getting to see Indy travel back into the past and interact with Archimedes was mind-blowing and emotional. My jaw was on the floor that entire final act.
I love Dial of Destiny. It has all of the classic elements of what an Indiana Jones film is. There are 2 things I wish they did have, which was Mutt and more of Marion, but the ending was perfect.
Well, I had a great time seeing Dial of Destiny. I got to see it with both my dad and my son, so it was a fun experience to share there. A lot of fun seeing Harrison Ford in his final adventure as the Man in the Hat. And the things I didn't like about the movie, I could easily overlook and still enjoy it.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, honestly one of my absolute favorite Indiana Jones films, primarily because I was born 2004, so this is my first true indie film that I've gotten to see in theaters, and I'm obsessed with it so much. I've seen it 4 times in IMAX already, probably gonna see it for a 5th time in standard edition. I can't wait to see it again.
Germany, 1944. Can we just say that it was a great sequence, a great just action, explosions, things going all over the place, everything. Wow, there's so much. The music is amazing. I really enjoyed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It was fantastic. It was great. I really recommend it to anybody.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10, and I'd say that it was far better than Crystal Skull and not better than the original 3, but it was good and entertaining, and Harrison Ford, always on point with his acting, was perfect in the movie. He's 80 years old, and I hope I look as good at 80 as he does.
I loved the movie. Mads Mikkelsen was great. Everyone else was. I loved it, and I wonder if there's gonna be another one. Most likely not, but I'm happy with this being the last one.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is for me a 10 out of 10. It's the best Indiana Jones movie for me because Mads Mikkelsen is the villain, Harrison Ford plays his role fantastic, and I love the de-aging at the beginning, and I watched it 2 times, and I will probably go see it a 3rd time.
I really enjoy Dial of Destiny because of the John Williams music, and also because they put in songs from the Beatles and David Bowie. And of course, the German-speaking villains, because they are always the best.
Hey Kevin, it's Zach here. I enjoyed the de-aging of Indy and then Archimedes at the end, and of course Marion Richard.
I've been a fan of Indy since 1981 when my dad took me to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I've seen him through all his adventures, including Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and this was a fantastic send-off for an amazing character.
All right, so overall, I enjoyed The Dial of Destiny, man. I have two issues with the film. The first is pace. Let's be honest, man, this film has no pulse after that prologue and before that incredible climax at the end of the picture here. Number two, cleverness. Without Spielberg in that director's chair, meticulously going through this screenplay with his storyboards, we're missing out on a lot of fun, fresh visual gags and shots. But we got fun characters, we got an interesting story, a MacGuffin that brings something new to the table. In my opinion, so bizarre, it just makes Indy so much cooler for having gone through that experience.
As an experienced tuk-tuk rider, I can honestly say that Indiana Jones was a lot of fun. And who doesn't want more solo?
The fact that Mangold and everybody involved was able to pull off a very heartfelt fan film while working with their heroes, referring to Steve and George, and none other than Harrison Ford, makes me feel very happy, but it also makes me feel very proud of every single one of them.
My review and thoughts on Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. A bit disappointed with it, but there were moments I did love in the film, and I saw this movie twice in theaters and with my dad, and he loved it. So, great, disappointing, but okay movie.
I saw Dial of Destiny for the first time with my mom in IMAX, and when we got out, I asked her what she'd give it out of 10, and without blinking, she said 9.8. I said 8, but I've seen it a couple more times now, and I would probably give it a 9.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
I like this movie because it's shown the human side of Indiana. In the end of it, he's in the ancient Syracuse and he asked to be left there to die. He's not just a hero, but he's an old suffering man, and I was moved.
I'd give Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a solid 7 out of 10. I love the Roman and Greek history involved throughout the film, especially with Archimedes. I thought Voller was one of the best villains in the whole entire franchise, and the opening scene is 10 out of 10. Fortune and glory, everyone.
I really loved The Dial of Destiny. It was a heartfelt movie. I'm a true Indiana Jones fan, and I always have been, and I always will be a true Indiana Jones fan. It was great to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones one more time at the age of 80. I give a 9 out of 10 for Dial of Destiny, and I hope to go see it again.
Opening 20 minutes felt like we were watching Indiana Jones from the original trilogy. I loved Harrison Ford's emotional acting in this film, and I'd put this film in between Crystal Skull and the original 3.
Just go watch it for yourself. I mean, from the storyline to the CG, it stands up there with the rest of them. It works. You gotta watch it. Dial of Destiny.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll hurl through time and directly into the history books when you saddle up and ride with Indiana Jones on his final adventure. A must-see for fans of the franchise, you owe it to yourself to make those memories, so go out and buy your ticket today.
It's a good movie, and in my opinion, it's as good as the first 3 movies and way better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. My favorite part was when you first see Sala, because I think that's the perfect way to introduce him into the movie. I really love the ending too. It's a great send-off of the character.
I enjoyed Dial of Destiny for all the action, all the suspense, and the cast. I enjoyed everything about it. It's one of my favorite movies so far of this year, and a great use of score by John Williams, and I had a grin on my face the whole time.
There are so many things I love about this movie, like the acting Harrison Ford provided for us, the music by John Williams, and my theater experience, because I got a bunch of really cool goodies out of it as well.
Indiana Jones went from a hero who I want to emulate to a family member that I care for, and that's why I love Dial of Destiny.
I've seen the film 5 times now, having seen it at the Hollywood premiere for the first time, and each time I always see something new, something great, and it harkens back to the original trilogy, and I say trilogy with an emphasis. The spirit of adventure, the spirit of what Harrison Ford brings to the character, and it is an epic conclusion to what I believe is one of the greatest adventure series of all time. If it wasn't for him and my mom, I wouldn't be an Indiana Jones fan. And you want to tell them why?
Well, his mother and I, one of our first dates was to see The Last Crusade back in 1989. So I guess it was born into him that he loves Indiana Jones.
By all means, Dial of Destiny is not a perfect movie. It has a lot of very valid criticisms going after it, but I personally loved it. My favorite part of the movie was Indy's character arc and how it's about this character we all know and love, washed up in his twilight years, and this movie serves as a comeback story for him, and I think they handled that really well.
The scene in the bar between Helena and Indy I didn't think was very well directed. It's just shot reverse shot, and the music doesn't do its job of selling the mythical nature of that Archimedes style that you're talking about. And when the action in Dial of Destiny is probably the most fast-paced of any indie movie, the scene feels very, very dragged on.
I have seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny 15 times in theaters now, and it keeps getting better. I love the action scenes, I love the adventure, but I also love how it concludes Indiana Jones's story.
What's up everyone, this is my collection of Indiana Jones adventures. I went to go see Dial of Destiny on the opening night with all my loved ones, and I thought it was the perfect bookend to my favorite movie character, and I can't wait to add to this collection of rare antiquities.
The de-aging had to be my favorite part. I think that opening scene captured the magic of the originals, gave me the chills. The John Williams score was just as great as it's ever been. Harrison was looking just like classic Indy. Thought the whole movie was great. Solid 8 out of 10 for me.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is an 8 out of 10. The entire movie, Indy spends time searching for lost artifacts when in fact he is the one that is lost. And in the final scene, he reaches out the window and grabs his fedora willingly, signifying that Indy is back and his adventures will always continue.
I went and saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny twice. I liked it that much. I especially like how it's basically a 1940s pulp hero meeting a 1970s anti-hero.
Out of 10, I rate it as 6.5. It's not perfect by any means. There are moments that Helena really doesn't make me happy, but there are also some moments that I really like from Helena actually in this film. And other supporting cast have issues as well, but there are other moments in this film that are really good. Overall, Ford nails the role again and brings us on one final adventure.
Corey, that played young Indiana Jones, went to see the movie. He said it was very good. He said it was funny and it covered a lot.
I loved this film. I was lucky enough to be invited to the UK premiere. I've seen it 3 times. I took my son to see it at the weekend. He loved it. The final scene had me in tears. Well done, James Mangold and cast and crew. It's a wonderful send-off.
About a week ago, I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny with my best friend at our local drive-in. She had not seen any of the films before. We enjoyed our time. Loved the music. I loved Harrison Ford. It was good to see him goodbye, and I loved the last send-off, grabbing the hat. I just want to say I enjoyed the film. I can't really complain about it. I had concerns going in, but I am not disappointed. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Indy, for all the adventures.
Threads new ground within the franchise and leaves Indy with the biggest, most beautiful reward yet. Something that neither shines nor glows, but means a whole lot more. It's a 4 out of 5 and quite a ride.
I really loved Dial of the Destiny. It was a great Indiana Jones film. I really loved this scene about Commandant Drift and the never-ending scene. Thank you Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas for making all this possible and making my childhood incredible.
As an Indy fan, I wish I was old enough to see all the movies in theaters that had been released, but I am glad that I was able to see The Dial of Destiny the one final time in theaters, which I think it was truly an honor.
I've been waiting 15 years since the last movie came out, and this one delivered. I think that final shot, where it pans up to the balcony, perfect Spielberg shot. 100% best way to send off Indy.
The only thing I guess I didn't like was the very small role that Marion had. She deserved a lot more than that. Karen Allen too. But overall, I had a lot of fun with the movie. Went with my wife and my daughter. My wife said it was not bad, which coming from her is high praise indeed.
The movie was incredible. It was fast-paced. It had everything an Indiana Jones movie needed, and it wrapped up the character in every way I wanted it to. and it was beautiful.
The opening action set piece was phenomenal. The characters were well written and thought out, cinematography was great, CGI was surprisingly well done. Overall, it was a fanfare for Indy. My first time seeing the film, everyone applauded at the end.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny truly is the adventure of a lifetime. But not just because of the magic we see on the silver screen, because of you, the fans, the people who make this franchise so special and worth more than any Shankara Stone, Mark of the Covenant, or Holy Grail could possibly provide.
Some parts are just, well, downright wacky. As a trade-off, I think we have a loving send-off for our titular hero. And, well, the heart and soul, especially from Harrison and others in the crew, I think make this a good send-off. Oh, those aren't fortune cookies.
After years of waiting, I rented out a private theater and invited people who put up with my Indiana Jones obsession. I was disappointed in the movie. I personally thought that it lacked a lot of classic elements that Indiana Jones movies should have. Like an off-screen villain death, they chose.
Was the movie a masterpiece? No. Was it as good as the original trilogy? No. But what it was a good movie, and that's what's important. We should celebrate this.
Shogun Vala is simply fantastic. His analytical skills make him a unique threat, and his evil plan is really bold. Overall, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a fantastic comeback for cinema's definitive action-adventure hero.
It wasn't as good as the first three, and it didn't have Steven Spielberg's charm or magic to it. Overall, I think it was a pretty good final film for Indiana Jones.
Hello, this is my review of Dial of Destiny. As you can see, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. I have them. I have Dial of Destiny right there. I would like to say I would give it an 8 out of 10, and probably my second favorite out of the whole series.
Harrison Ford was incredible. Mads Mikkelsen was the perfect villain. The music was so lush and rich. The story is so deep and complex. Seeing it in Hollywood with my friends at the premiere was unforgettable. Seeing it in 4DX was mind-blowing. Yeah, I think I loved it.
Not a perfect movie by any means, but for what it did right, it really did right. It's obvious there was so much love for the character of Indiana Jones behind and in front of the camera, so many hardcore, legit indie moments in this movie. When the movie was over with, my wife and I had a smile on our faces, we applauded. The second time I saw it, my friends and I applauded. I approve.
I liked it. It was better than Crystal Skull. Had some good action, really cool locations, really nicely shot. And you know, the story was better. The only thing is the ending was a little bit rushed, I thought, a bit abrupt. You could tell it was probably reshot. And but you know, other than that, I liked it.
The buzz and the excitement and the absolute joy of seeing my hero and my inspiration, Harrison Ford, as Indiana Jones and one final adventure. Months of trailers and teasers, they built me up for this, and I really wasn't disappointed. What an amazing film. Thank you very much, Mr. Mangold.
I thought the movie was incredible. These movies inspired me to travel, to be open-minded about other cultures. Harrison Ford taught me you can be tough, smart, and vulnerable all at the same time. So I thought this was the perfect ending for him. You know, dealing with the vulnerability of getting old and feeling disconnected from the world. And then at the end, he shows us that the ultimate treasure is family. And that is the ultimate MacGuffin for all of us. And that's what this film teaches us.
I thought the movie was amazing. I went and already seen it 5 times in a row with my girlfriend and best friend. It was perfect. Every single time I watched it, the crowd was always cheering at the end or when you saw Sala, and it was a really beautiful movie.
Dial of Destiny was such a fun movie. I've seen it 3 times in theaters now, and it gets better and better each time I watch it. One thing I will say, it didn't feel like the final Indiana Jones adventure to me. That might be a good thing. It left me wanting more. I want more adventures from Indy. I love the character. I want to see more Indy.
What I enjoyed most about Indy 5 is that it showed the character and how he dealt with deep emotional pain. And it showed that he was capable of persevering past anything. And that's what I think we love about Indiana Jones the most.
It takes Indiana Jones out of the 1930s serials and puts him into the 1960s
spy adventure. Indiana Jones on horseback riding away from the skyscrapers of Manhattan, right? A great image of a cowboy trying to escape fate, which is aging and irrelevance.
Indiana Jones is really great for having compartmentalized adventures at the very beginning to give you an idea of where Indy is at right now. And Dial of Destiny, in my opinion, has the best. The music, the writing, the pacing, the action, all of it is perfect. If the film had ended after the 25-minute prologue, I'd have been happy, because man, was that fantastic.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's like whiskey. Is it as good as a 12-year Redbreast? No. Is it as bad as Johnny Walker Red Label? Also no. It's more like this. Familiar, tasty, comforting. Do I recommend it? Absolutely.
Thank you all so much for submitting your videos. This was a really fun project to put together, and on behalf of all of us fans, I'd like to offer a heartfelt thank you to Harrison Ford, James Mangold, and everybody over at Lucasfilm for making this movie happen. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you never miss out. Till next time, my friends, I wish you all fortune and glory. Bye-bye now.